Shalom Yasharala. Before we go into this lesson, we give all honor, all glory, and all praises be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rekakwadash. We give double honor to the apostles and prophets and elders of GMS Camp. Better known as Great Millstone, for the bring forth the 100% truth that I've been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, the tabernacle of David, and Anabel Tazariak coming to this lesson. Now, the reason and purpose, again, most important for this particular lesson, is because of a particular video which we're going to play very soon.
How does Jesus connect to the Father? Well, let's do some research on this name, Jesus. Now, if you do a simple Google search, you can see that the letter J is about 500 years old. So going back to 2,000 years ago, the name of Jesus never existed when the true Messiah actually walked the earth. So what is his true name? It's very important because it has part of the Father's name in it. So let's find out what the true Messiah's name is. Now, tracing everything back to the original Hebrew roots, you get the Father's name Yahuwah and the Messiah's name Yahusha.
Notice there's no evidence whatsoever as to how him tracing his name back to the Hebrew roots being as it could have been shown. Because for those who didn't realize, and I've did it already, I'll do it again, the letter U was prominent in the Indo-European language, not the Proto-Semitic language. We have done this before. Matter of fact, make it worse, the letter U was only prominent in the Indo-European language, which is called Pi or P-I-E, Pi vowels or Pi language. There were consonant letters, and there were Pi language or vocals or pronunciations which involves the letter U. That was never part of our language or speaking or ancestral speaking. This is my problem again. Now you see what they like to do without evidence.
Where you can see he is
This is what you are using.
You're saying to
Where?
love the Father Yahweh.
Where?
But
Okay.
knows he's one. Again, he came in the image of Jesus.
There's no thorough breakdown or information concerning his name being Yahuwah and Yahusha, which has been shown on this video. We have scrolled through it. Yet they are still blind. Still blind in their own pride. Let's pause. Let me get a precept to that immediately. Romans 10. This is the point I'm showing. These other camps, the reason why y'all could come and say the name will start with Y-A-H and continue is because of the elders and apostles that brought the information starting from one west coming down. If they hadn't dug deep and go in certain areas to provide evidence of such, you wouldn't even be here knowing the name or trying to get an understanding of what the name is. But you'll bypass the very ways and how to put it, hierarchy system, thinking that y'all could receive whatever you want, you could research whatever you want and add it in as part of the doctrines of the Hebrew Israelites. That's not part of it. That's why I bring this precept Romans 10. Verse 1, it says, Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to the power of Israel is that they might be saved. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of power, but not according to knowledge, which is you, many people like you. For they, being ignorant of power's righteousness, not going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of power. Because if you had known anything, purpose of the W being used as a smooth sliding letter, which is used specifically for names. Why is that? Because the Heavenly Father name was known. So people would have liked to have attributes nearing the name of Yahweh, of the Father, which is Yahweh, and His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai Salak, Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. But guess what? They don't go into these things. You just jump up after learning what whoever camp whatever taught you, and then jump and say, hey, so and consonant name. That's, come on. There's more research to this. You cannot be looking shallowly. The reason why I started going to ChatGPT is because what? All the information I provided was shown and proven. Wikipedia, Google, certain things I can be carried directly to. It even tell you where the letter U originated from, which is not. Anyways, I started letting the AI tell you, because when I say it, when I tell you and I bring up the information, guess what? We don't know what we're saying. You understand? We don't know what we're saying. So now, let AI tell AI that they don't know what they're saying to them. At this point. Because, this is why his name is so important at the end of the day. It's important to know his name. What Scripture says, because Scripture says, Proverbs 18:10, it says, the name of Yahweh is a strong tower, and the righteous runneth unto it and is safe. Now you provide evidence of what Eliezer bin Yehuda did, which was direct, showing that the letter O, E, and U is not part of our Hebrew ancestry of our spoken language back then. I'm going to even solidify this even more. Let's get some information. Again, what was right there? Remember this? Remember this, guys? Remember this? Proto-language reconstruction. Many early language families reconstructed a W sound very deep in time. It says Proto-Afro-Asiatic, which was W. Proto-Indo-European, which was W, written W or U, which is originated to them. And then there's the Proto-Semitic, later 4000 BC, which is WAW, which gives the Y symbol, which are consonant letters. We agree to that, right? Did we agree to that? Okay, let's keep going. Let's go from verse. It says phonetic reality. This is non-negotiable. The U is a vowel high sound, rounded vowel, and the W is a consonant or glide labayo vela approximant. Human speech cannot function without vowels. A language with consonant but no vowel is impossible. Correct. However, so from the earliest reconstruction, human language, vowels existed at the same time as consonant, which is no problem. But who had the vowels? Let's get that. It says Proto-Semitic evidence relevance. It says Proto-Semitic is reconstructed. We did it already. I go this way. Let it go. I believe is. Let it go this way. No, right here. Read this. It says this proves that the letter U didn't exist before the W, or the W didn't exist before the U. But now you can identify which one is used in what area, right? It says vowels U and consonant included W. Standard sources. It says at AL comparative grammar of the Semitic language. It goes on to say Hu Nagad introduction to Semitic languages. It says this means that the U exists in speech and W exists in speech. One did not come before the other. So those who like to say, well, the U was first, that is why it have a term called W. It means two U's put together. That's false. They were created because of how they sounded. One was a rounded sound, one was a smooth sound. Like U, ah, W, wah. It's a difference. So now we clear that part. So for those who want to bring that shit up, you can't. Right? You can't. By the way, let's keep going. Let's go back into it now. And go back to the first part, which is, I guess, this, right? It says, sound and letters, again, the cruel distinction, W consonant sound approximant, and the U sound vowels sound high back rounded. I think we read this already. Let's go to the part. This is, I think, is part point 2, which is this. It says ancestral language, W versus U. Proto-Semitic ancestors reconstructed shows that the shows Proto-Semitic had both W and U. However, the consonant W was very prominent in roots, especially at the beginning of words or in verb forms. The vowel U was present but limited to what syllable? Vowels were not written. It goes on to say, let's read, in sources of Hunagad, Introduction to Semitic Languages, Harvard, 2019. It even goes into some Lipnitsky, Semitic Languages, 2001. So it is fair to say W was a prominent. So fair to say W is a prominent consonant in Proto-Semitic used in roots and names. Example: wa, which is a verbal roots. Point 3. We're not stopping. Let's go. What this means in your phrasing, the letter W is original to Hebrew ancestors, and the U, which is I put, it says if by letter you mean song, it is most accurate to say W is more central to Semitic roots than Pi roots, because Pi roots goes back to Indo-European language. In other words, vowels. It is also accurate to say U was more central to Pi language than to Proto-Semitic, which we just agreed upon, didn't we? Let's go into verse 4. Let me see how. I think you have verse 4. Where's the 4? The fourth one. Salah, come on. Hold on. Make sure he's writing. I'll show he's writing. How to state the correct. No, they're not. Is that it? No, this is a different one. Salak. Fudge. Why? Where's the fourth one of saying how to state it is correctly? This is the important part. Alright, you know what? 5. Let's go 5. Salakia. Why this it even was going on show you here the U was functioning an original in the Indo-European lineage, though both sound existed. I need 4. Right, so I get back verses point 4. How to state this correctly? It says here's an academically defensive way to put it. This is how they put it. But regardless, we know what is original to what, and it's going to tell you. It says in the Proto-Semitic language, ancestral Hebrew with consonant glides, W played a major phonological role and was a common word root, while the high back vowel U existed but was a less prominent in the less prominent. It says in Proto-Indo-European the vowel U was central to root structures, while W existed mainly as a semi-vowel or glide, which is why, as we are in a European-based nation dealing with the so-called white man or the Edomites, as they have learned that at way, and they have brought it on. Hence why we have in our schools vowels being taught. One of the first major things to be taught are vowels in your language of English, because it drops back to the same people who constructed this language and who was using the same vowels back then. It's simple to trace the roots. It's not hard to trace coming up or going down concerning the roots. There's no new thing under the sun. Roughly paraphrasing. Let's continue. It says what going back. It says, but less prominent. It says in the proto. I read already, right? Okay. It says thus W was functionally more original in the Semitic lineage, and the U was functionally more original in the Indo-European lineage or lineage, though both sound existed in both families. Which, verse 5, now it's going to tell you something different here. Verse 5, it says, let's get to verse 5, then verse 5, point 5, why this matters for your argument. This explains why I, which is WAW, was adapted for W in Hebrew, and this is also explains why Indo-European language emphasizes U in vowels of roots. The only reason, which is what I said before, it shows sound history aligns with your intuition without misrepresenting the linguistics. So, as you continue, in the last part, what it says, I said sorry for saying letters because I was supposed to say vocals. I keep saying letters instead of messaging, I'm writing vocals. When I see that, here it says, it corrects the whole thing. It says, to summarize your insight accurate, it says, no worries at all. I completely understand now. And yes, I got your point perfectly. And to summarize, it says in Proto-Semitic Hebrew ancestors, the W sound was prominent in the word root and functionally original in the lineage. In Indo-European, which was said, in Indo-European ancestors, the U vowel, which was created by them, sound was more central to roots, making it functionally original in that lineage. Now watch this.